I'm at the Military Women's Memorial, located at the ceremonial gateway to Arlington National Cemetery.
We are the only national memorial dedicated to telling the stories of America's servicewomen from all eras and all military services.
We do this through both our world-class collection and the Register, an interactive database of military women, which houses approximately 300,000 stories of sacrifice, bravery, and service to our country.
Today, we're taking a closer look at one of those stories.
Women were first allowed to serve in the military in the early 1900s as nurses in the Army and Navy Nurse Corps. While women were initially limited to serving as nurses without rank, the First World War required the military to rethink its policies as more manpower was needed on the front lines. The Naval Act of 1916 declared that a ship's crew could consist of all persons who may be capable, which created a loophole that enabled women to enlist in additional non-combat roles to free the men who had been performing those jobs to be sent to the war in Europe. Opha May Johnson became the first woman to enlist in the Marine Corps Reserve on August 13, 1918. She was the first in line, but that doesn't mean the Marines were taking just anyone. Thousands of women applied, but just over 300 women met the Marines' strict requirements of intense mental and physical stamina, as well as having office skills. Johnson was 39 years old at the time of her enlistment and worked for years in civil service before becoming a Marine. She worked as a clerk in the DC office of the Quartermaster General of the Marine Corps. By September 1918, she was promoted to sergeant and was the highest-ranking woman in the Marine Corps at the time. The worth of women Marines was recognized, and they received the same pay as their male counterparts, which was extraordinary for the time. However, in the summer of 1919, after the end of the war, women were released from service. When Johnson first enlisted, women were not allowed to vote. In 1920, the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution gave women the right to vote, thanks in part to the service of women like Johnson. The military service of women during World War I demonstrated that women could perform valuable work independently and outside the home. Women argued successfully that they were sacrificing for the war effort and therefore deserved the vote.
At the age of 76, Opha passed away at the Mount Alto Veterans Hospital, and she was buried next to her husband, who was Victor Hugo Johnson, in Rock Creek Cemetery, which is in Maryland. But it was a family cemetery plot. And we found out about 2017, right before we were going to celebrate 100 years of women in the Marine Corps, that Opha was in an unmarked grave with nothing that even marked her name or her legendary service. And so the Women Marines Association and the Marine Corps decided that we needed to make sure that her legacy would never be forgotten. And anyone at Rock Creek Cemetery or anyone that looked or up on the internet, they would be able to see where the first woman Marine was buried. So it was truly an honor to stand next to the Commandant and to stand next to other Marines and to get her beautiful obelisk. It's a beautiful memorial in Rock Creek Cemetery that actually has her name right there, and giving a little bit about her military, her Marine Corps story. And she was the first. I mean, this is a name that from day one in the Marine Corps, we say the name of who the first woman Marine was.
To learn more stories of women, past and present, who serve our nation, visit www.womensmemorial.org. Tune in for our next HERstory Spotlight.